Imagine the promise. You just click one single button
Mm-hmm.
and a completely formatted professional slide deck just, materializes in 2 minutes.
Oh, man, it sounds like the absolute ultimate productivity dream.
It really does. But then, then you look closely at the result.
Yeah.
And it's just this plain, generic, totally uneditable mess.
Oh, totally. It's the classic trap of early automation. We've basically been conditioned by the tech industry to expect instant magic.
Right.
And we completely bypass the actual architectural work required to make that magic, actually useful.
Welcome to this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're really glad you're joining us today. I've been thinking a lot lately about the friction between our creative intentions and the actual output we get from AI tools.
It's a huge pain point for so many people right now.
It is. So our mission today is to kind of step outside of that one-click illusion. We are going to break down a professional 3-step presentation workflow inside NotebookLM.
Which is such a game changer once you understand it.
Exactly. So first, we'll look at how to build a walled garden of trusted sources to completely eliminate data hallucinations.
Essential.
Then we'll explore how to craft slide-by-slide prompts for really rigorous brand control. And finally, we're going to solve one of the most maddening bottlenecks in this entire process.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, the flat image export limitation.
Yes. It is a critical shift in mindset.
Yeah.
You really have to move from being just a passive consumer of a software feature, to acting as an active art director.
I like that, an active art director.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the tool is wildly powerful, but only if you constrain it first. It's all about setup, generation, and targeted revision.
Whenever I sit down to build a presentation, the immediate temptation is to just jump straight to the design phase.
Oh, we all do it.
Right. We want to pick the fonts, we want to arrange the colors, and just make it look pretty.
Yeah.
But the foundation of any meaningful deck isn't the aesthetic layer.
No, not at all.
It's the data layer. If we skip straight to the generate button, we are basically just guaranteeing mediocrity.
Because the prettiest typography in the world cannot save factually bankrupt content.
Right.
NotebookLM is fundamentally a source-based tool, and that makes its underlying architecture very different from a generalized model, like ChatGPT or Gemini.
Let's define that clearly for a second. A source-based AI strictly analyzes the specific files you upload.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't scour the open internet unless explicitly told to. It's kind of like giving a student an open book test, but you only allow them to bring 3 very specific textbooks into the exam room.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
That constraint is exactly what gives it power. But, human nature kicks in, right?
Always.
We're busy, we're on a deadline. We think, I'll just use the auto web search feature and let the AI pull the background context for me.
I mean, I have to be honest here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself when I don't give the AI rigid boundaries.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I get lazy. I'll just drop in one vague link, skip the deep source curation entirely, and just hope the model magically intuits my entire business strategy.
We all do it. It's so tempting. But relying on live web searches for your core data is essentially just inviting chaos into your workflow.
It's a mess.
It's like a dog catching a random scent on a walk. The AI just wanders off.
Yeah.
You're pulling in SEO spam, you're grabbing irrelevant sidebars, completely out of context quotes. It completely dilutes the core message of your presentation because the AI is trying to synthesize too many conflicting realities.
So the solution is heavily curating that left-hand source panel. We can upload up to 5 trusted formats.
Right.
Local files, live links, PDFs, Google Drive documents, or even YouTube videos.
Yep.
Let's ground this in a real scenario. Say you are tasked with building a really complex deck on climate change mitigation.
Oh, wow. Okay, a massive topic. If you just hit generate with an open web search on climate change, the AI is going to drown in contradictory noise and, political opinion.
Exactly. But if you purposefully combine a verified NASA PDF on atmospheric data, a really well-curated Wikipedia summary, and a specific YouTube explainer video breaking down carbon capture,
You are essentially curating the entire universe the AI is allowed to perceive.
walled garden.
Yes, you're building a verifiable reality. And the fascinating part is just watching how it synthesizes those specific inputs. It cross-references the dense, academic data tables in that NASA PDF with the highly accessible conversational transcript from the YouTube video.
Right.
It creates this factual foundation that is completely bulletproof, but still really easy for a general audience to digest.
And it gives you a quick summary in the center panel, which sort of acts as a confirmation that it has actually ingested the reality you've built.
Exactly.
So stepping back for a second, Why exactly does pulling from live web searches dilute the quality of the slides so much?
Basically because it introduces completely uncontrolled variables and just totally irrelevant context into the AI's synthesis engine.
Okay, so bad sources equal mixed results. Verified uploads equal laser-focused accuracy.
That is the anchor of the whole workflow. You have to wall off your reality first.
So once we've successfully walled off the AI's universe with our trusted PDFs and videos, the next logical hurdle is visual.
Yep.
How do we stop it from turning that great data into a boring gray wall of text? We have to move our attention from the source panel over to the prompt box.
And this transition is where a lot of users just totally drop the ball.
They do.
They assume the AI inherently knows how to pace a narrative arc. But before you even hover over that generate button, you have to interact with the visual description box. You absolutely must define your structural goals.
Let's unpack the formats NotebookLM offers first. I notice in the advanced options, there's a distinct split between presenter slides and a detailed deck.
Yes, and it's a vital distinction. Presenter slides are lightweight visual layouts meant strictly for live public speaking.
Right, so if I'm speaking on a stage, I want to force the AI into presenter mode.
Exactly.
I don't want it generating a massive paragraph that basically acts like a teleprompter on the screen behind me,
Right.
and a detailed deck.
Those are heavy text slides designed for people to read alone. So think of an internal company memo or a really dense research report that's just formatted as a presentation.
Okay, so you set those guardrails in the advanced options menu by clicking the small arrow next to the slide deck button.
Mm-hmm.
You choose the format, the language, and a rough slide length. Under 10 slides is short, 10 to 15 is the default, and anything over 15 is long.
Right.
But the real leverage, the actual design control, comes from the description box itself.
And so many people leave it entirely blank.
I know.
Or they write something incredibly weak. A classic weak prompt is just typing something like, create a professional presentation about digital marketing.
Which sounds like a recipe for a completely generic, soul-crushing corporate snooze fest.
Oh, it guarantees it. The AI will default to the safest, most statistically average interpretation of professional.
Right.
You get slate gray backgrounds, standard bullet points, and incredibly dry pacing.
So how do we force it to act like a high-end design agency? We have to be brutally specific. Contrast that weak prompt with a strong one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just ask for a deck. You specify a 10-slide deck on 2025 marketing trends. You demand a dark navy background, white text, vibrant orange accents, and bold sans serif fonts.
Yes.
You're
You're stepping into the role of an art director. You are assigning a highly specific creative brief. And you should dictate the structural rhythm, too.
How so?
Well, instructed to use one main headline, exactly 2 to 3 short bullets, and one simple visual per slide.
And you define the tone. You tell it, make this practical, confident, and written for non-technical business owners.
Exactly. But if we connect this to the absolute ceiling of what the tool can do, the ultimate control method isn't just writing a global-style prompt.
Right.
It's dictating the entire presentation, slide by slide.
This is where it gets incredibly powerful. It obviously requires a lot more upfront labor, but the resulting polish is just staggering.
It really is.
You essentially write a script for the AI, pacing out the entire narrative, and paste that detailed brief directly into the visual description box.
Let's walk through what that looks like in practice.
Okay.
Imagine we're building a deck on digital tools for remote teams.
Yeah.
You start by establishing that global style we talked about. Clean, minimal, light gray background, flat icon illustrations, friendly professional tone.
Then you literally script the sequence. You type, slide 1, title, the remote team toolkit, visual, a simple minimalist desk illustration.
Perfect. Then you move to the problem statement, slide 2. Title, why remote teams struggle. Visual, an illustration of confused expressions on a video call grid.
And then you get highly specific on the solution, slide 3, loom. You explicitly tell the AI the key takeaway you want on screen, which is record a 3-minute video,
Right.
and you demand a specific icon like a red record button.
Whoa. Just imagine the scale of this for a second. Imagine generating 10 completely distinct, perfectly tailored presentation decks for 10 different audiences.
Ranging from highly technical engineers to absolute beginners.
Exactly. All pulling from the exact same source material just by swapping out that master prompt in a matter of minutes.
Just tweaking the prompt, hitting generate, and letting it run. That completely redefines how we think about presentation prep.
Oh, entirely.
Now, the generation process does take 2 to 4 minutes, and you have to keep the browser tab open while it works.
Yeah, that's true.
But because you've mapped the sequence, the story stays tightly connected. The visual language doesn't just wander off halfway through.
Right.
But wait, doesn't writing a massive, highly detailed slide-by-slide brief sort of defeat the purpose of using a fast AI tool to begin with?
Not at all, because it forces the AI into your specific story flow, saving hours of back-end revision.
Right. Putting in the time up front saves hours of frustrating formatting later.
Exactly. Front-load the creative thinking so you can actually enjoy the final product.
Okay, so you've followed the blueprint, you've walled off your sources, you've written a meticulous slide-by-slide prompt, and the AI has generated a gorgeous deck.
Mm.
You download the PPTX file, open it up because you spotted a tiny typo on slide 4. You double-click the text.
And nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
The sheer panic of that moment.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a stakeholder meeting in 20 minutes, you're furiously clicking the title to change a revenue number, and you realize you're just dragging the entire slide around the screen like a photograph.
It's the most critical limitation in NotebookLM right now, and you absolutely must understand it before you build a workflow around it. NotebookLM exports slides as flat images. The system relies on a back-end rendering process called Nano Banana.
Let's define that quickly for everyone. It's the back-end software rendering your slides into flat, single-layer images.
Which means it makes text natively uneditable. It does not create editable text layers or vector shapes or individual elements the way a standard PowerPoint or Apple Keynote file does natively.
Yeah.
It's kind of like someone handing you a beautiful, perfectly framed painting of a spreadsheet instead of the actual Excel file.
Wow. That is a painful but incredibly accurate analogy. You can admire the painting of the Q3 revenue numbers on the wall, but you cannot click into the cells and update them.
So we are stuck with a painting. How do we fix a typo on a painting? We have 3 distinct paths for a revision. Let's start with option A, which is revising entirely inside NotebookLM.
This is your best strategic move if you need to make large content updates that affect multiple slides. You just hit the revise button inside the tool to open the slide editing view.
But again, the AI is not a mind reader. If you use a vague prompt like, make this slide better, you're going to get a mess.
Because better is a highly subjective human concept.
Right.
The AI has absolutely no idea what better means for your specific audience. You have to give it surgical, structural instructions.
Exactly. You define an update goal, make the slide feel more modern, then a specific title update. Replace the current title with How AI Automation Saves Teams 10 Hours Every Week.
And you must constrain the content changes. Reduce the long paragraphs into 3 short bullet points. Crucially, you have to remind it of your original design instructions so it doesn't lose the plot and generate something completely mismatched.
Right, like keep the dark background in blue accent colors.
Yep. It will re-render the slide as a brand new image. Now, the backgrounds might shift slightly because it's generating a fresh picture, but it creates a new version without overwriting your original deck, which is a really nice safety net.
That's good.
Yeah.
But what if my content is actually perfect and I just need to change the structural order of the presentation?
That's where we move to option B, exporting the PPTX file.
Okay, so this is ideal for basic layout adjustments. You download the file and you open it in Google Slides or standard PowerPoint by going to File, Import Slides, and Upload.
Right. The slides themselves are still completely flat images, but now they exist in traditional presentation timeline. You can drag slide 4 to the front. You can delete slide 7 entirely.
And if you're truly desperate and in a rush, you can always just draw a new editable text box right over the top of the flat image to cover something up.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a hack, but it definitely works for quick fixes.
But what if I don't want to hack it with layered text boxes? What if I just need to fix one single word on one slide and I need it to look perfectly native?
Then you need option C, Gemini Visualize.
Walk me through how this actually works.
It is absolutely brilliant for lightning-fast single-slide edits. You don't even need to leave Google Slides. You just use the Visualize side panel right there in the interface.
So I click on the flat image slide I want to change. I open that Visualize panel, and I just describe the
correction.
Yeah.
You literally just type, change the title of this slide to 3 habits of highly productive workers. Gemini analyzes the original image, matches the font style, matches the background aesthetics, and generates a new corrected image version of the slide right there.
Wow. It seamlessly rewrites the title and swaps the image, saving me the massive headache of going all the way back into NotebookLM, writing a new prompt, waiting for the render, and re-exporting.
Exactly. It's a surgical strike. It fixes the pain point without abandoning the visual quality.
I keep coming back to this design choice, though. Why would the developers engineer it to export as uneditable flat images in the first place? It feels so counterintuitive to how we've worked for the last 30 years.
Basically, rendering them as images ensures a much cleaner, highly polished visual output without formatting breaking across different devices.
So it trades easy text editing for a much more polished, consistent visual design.
It's a highly calculated trade-off. Think about it.
Yeah.
If it exported a bunch of poorly aligned, messy text boxes that broke when you opened them on a different operating system, users would immediately complain that the AI was terrible at design.
Fair point. Okay, let's step back and look at the whole picture here. What does this all mean for our workflow? Let's recap the big idea from today's deep dive.
The overarching philosophy is that you must treat NotebookLM as a rapid visual framing tool. You cannot treat it like a traditional granular slide editor.
Right. The heavy lifting, the actual secret to a perfect deck, does not happen in the editing phase. It is heavily weighted in the upfront prompting and relentlessly curating exact sources.
If you put the intellectual work in before you click generate, the output feels incredibly precise.
So remember the best practices. Wall off your reality. Always use verified sources when accuracy matters. Bring your own material and do not rely on random web searches.
Make sure you're matching your format to the room, too. Use detailed decks if the audience is reading it alone, and presenter slides if you're speaking on a stage.
Keep your slide instructions in plain, direct language. No flowery descriptions needed, just clarity. Break complex revisions into single steps so the AI doesn't get overwhelmed and drop details.
And don't be afraid to create multiple presentation versions within a single notebook. You can test completely different styles without starting from scratch every single time.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. You now have the exact blueprint to take scattered notes, build a walled garden of truth, and turn them into professional, polished presentations without falling into the one-click trap.
It really is a paradigm shift once you adapt to the boundaries of the tool: sources, structure, and targeted revision.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on everything we just discussed.
I love these. Let's hear it.
We've spent this whole time figuring out how to precisely manipulate an AI to output static, flat images that mimic legacy software like PowerPoint.
Right.
But if AI can already perfectly synthesize, brand, and visualize our dense data in mere minutes, how long until the traditional slide deck becomes entirely obsolete, replaced by dynamic AI-generated visual dashboards that we interact with in real time?